enough for me.
All right.
I'm going to turn it over to Brian.
Cool.
He's going to tell you he brought no free golf equipment.
No, I thought about it. Any golfers here? Anybody? You don't have to lie. There you go. Okay. Not a big number. So if I brought something, you may not even want it. All right. So I've been doing this for about 15 years here, helping on and off. And my first deck I did was about the first job and helping you get the best job you can and things I learned along the way. And as I kind of have gotten older here doing this a while, it's almost been I'd say 28 years doing this. I started to eke in some culture pieces of it, and so hopefully it resonates. Hopefully it hits with you, whether you're a supply chain major or not. That's okay. But the real goal here for me is to come. And I went to UNT. I'll tell you about that here in a little bit. Is to give back the best I can to help the supply chain program, but help the business program too. We got lots of UNT folks on our team. Very happy with them. And again, this is kind of a lessons learned. So I've got a son that's at Argyle Junior, and I got a daughter at Arkansas. She's a junior as well. And so what this is going to be about is more about what I would tell them. Like, here's what I've learned. Here's what you can do. Here's what I did that was wrong. Here's what I've learned. And that's what this is about. So it should be pretty fun. We'll get you out of here. I think we're out for sure by 5:50. I'll try to leave some time for questions at the end. And if you have a question along the way, just stop me. Or if it's something longer, we can take it after the session outside. The other thing you can do, and I would love you to do this, is find me on LinkedIn. I think I'm the only Brian Heldebrandt out there in the world right now, at least without spelling. Link in with me. Even if you don't have a question, link in with me. And then if you have a question, you can hit me up that way too. Okay? All right, let's get rolling. Okay, so first of all, the picture here, and I'm not a massive golfer, by the way. I like to golf, but I'm not a massive golfer, but I got into golf through the supply chain, okay? The reason I picked this picture was my brother got married in Maui about 35 years ago, and that's the first hole in the course we played. So I found it the other day. I was trying to put something together, make this a little bit more fun, more visible, visibly appealing. And I proceeded to hit the ball in the palm trees and lost it. But anyway, so what I'll do is I'll tell you why I chose supply chain. I'm not here to get you to go supply chain. I know people, I think you have most of your majors selected. If you're supply chain, great. If you're not, again, this is designed to help you as well. What I do today, what I've learned in supply chain, and if that can translate to whatever roles and jobs you pick, and then integrate the importance of culture. And so we'll talk a lot about culture. And it's something that, as I'll get into, and when I was at, my early 20s, about to graduate, I was like, I need money. I want money. I want to make as much money as I can make. I need to get a good car. I had a crappy car in high school. I wanted a nice car. And that was what I was focused on for a while. And I'm like, I've kind of come full circle. And so what I'll try to explain is what I've learned. And then, as you pick a company, if you're already with a company, you go out, stay with that company long term, great. But if you're making a selection, then hopefully some of the pointers I give you can help you out. Okay. And then, so I'll talk about the culture at Callaway. So Callaway Golf, if you don't know, it's a golf brand. We're based out in California, but we have I would call it like our central headquarters is here in Dallas. So if you go down 35W after the Buc-ee's on the Fort Worth side is our DC. So you'll see it on the road there if you drive up that way. Okay. And that's where I'm based at. And then we'll circle back at the end just to say, hey, here's what I've learned. Here's things I would tell my kids if they were getting out to get ready to graduate. Okay. Okay. There we go. Okay. All right, cool. Okay. So again, any questions, just stop me, ask, no problem. There's no bad questions. So a UNT alumni was here right when the program just started. So real quick story, I was at the end of my college career. I'd realized the first couple of years I wasn't really getting involved. I was I would sit in the back, no offense for sitting in the back. But then around, I think my junior year, I started to do some programs. I was in the marketing program, and there was a professor named Dr. Sager was here. I did a couple competitions. I was just trying to get out of my comfort zone and learn. And I was like, well, I'm giving money to the school, so let's get something back, right? Like let's leverage the school. And I would tell you all to do that. He said, hey, we're going to start a supply chain program. We don't know where it's going to go, but we have an internship in UPS. Do you want that next year? I'll give you the guy's number. I'm like, yeah, I'll give it a shot. So long story short, I called the individual, and my dad was in the Air Force for a while. And before the interview, I said, Dad, what's the logistics? I have no idea. I'm going to go interview for this job, his internship. He goes, just say it's getting stuff from point A to point B as the most efficiently as you can. So I sit down, do the interview, and halfway through, he's like, well, what's your definition of logistics? I'm like, well, you take something from point A to point B as fast as you can. He's like, oh, that's a great answer. So that's how I got. So the internship was about double what my other buddies were making. And I'm like, yeah, I'll take this. So got the internship at UPS. And I would tell you this, if you're doing internships, or you're on your front side of your job, do not burn bridges, right? I'll work this into the story here. But long story short, the guy that I interviewed with, he was a manager back in, this is I don't want to date myself, but I'll have to here, but 90, I think 96, was a great leader. And he ended up going to Pepsi, to Starbucks. And then he was running, what was it called? It was a coffee company down the road here. So anyway, I went to interview for the job with Callaway. And during the interview, it was going okay. And at the very end of the interview, the person I was interviewing with said, "Hey, I see we have one bullet about UPS. Tell me about that." I'm like, "Yeah, I worked at UPS in Dallas, did this, and I worked for so-and-so." It was a guy named DeVerl Mazarin. And he goes, whoa, wait a second. How do you know him? I said, well, he's like a mentor of mine, and I actually almost worked for him like a year ago. And then from that point on, I think within a few minutes, he said, "Okay, well, what do you?" The person I was hiring, which is my boss's boss, said, "What do you want? What do you want to get here?" I'm like, "Okay." I made up a number. It was a bad number. I had to kind of refresh that. But again, that person is the one that probably got me the job I'm in now. So interesting way that this all connects. So it was UPS for a couple years, and then went to Verizon for 15 years doing supply chain. Did a little bit of everything. I loved it. It's a huge company. It was I think it was 100 billion at the time. It's massive. It was a Fortune 5, about 200,000 people, but huge opportunities there. So as you're looking for jobs and you're out trying to find the best thing for you, I've been in the massive side of business with a huge company, and I've been in the small mom and pop type of setup. So I went from Verizon for 15 years to Yeti. And the last day when I was at Verizon, I literally had a tie on. Like, we were wearing ties back then, and at headquarters. And then I go to Yeti down in Austin when they were just firing up, and it was an awesome experience. But I walk in there and there's beer kegs everywhere, and there's coolers, and it's just like it's a big party. But people were working hard, and just a totally different culture, totally, completely different. So it was interesting. And then I went to DonJoy, which is now Innovus, which is they do braces, right? They make medical braces. And that's where I then connected with Topgolf, which is, and those two DCs here on the bottom are right next to each other. So again, it's over there on the 35W side. Okay. So that's my path. Um, been a wild ride and been fun though. Been really fun, and it's never a dull moment. Okay. So my current job, currently I'm down at Callaway. We had purchased Topgolf. We just sold Topgolf yesterday for 1.1 billion. So that's cool. That's good. We sold that, and so we are going to be now. We'll have Callaway. We also do Travis Matthew. So if anyone knows, have you been to the shops in Frisco, or excuse me, Plano, or in South Lake? There's a Travis Matthew store there. That's who we also support. So it's all part of the business. We get people like John Rahm on the team. He'll wear the Travis Matthew, and then he obviously wears the Callaway gear. Okay. But the team that we have down at the warehouse, it's about 400 or 500 people there, and the building itself is about 1.1 million square feet. It's actually two buildings. One's about 800,000, and one's about 250,000, with some office space. So pretty big site. But there at the building, we do everything. My job is basically everything that comes in and out of the building and everything in between. So that's what I have to worry about and manage. We have finance in there. So if there's any finance majors, if you're a finance major, great. But supply chain companies, we need finance people. We have 4 or 5 finance people here at our building. We have much more back at headquarters. So accounting, we have accountants. So everything that you're probably doing would support a company like ours, whether you're supply chain or not. Okay. And our spike, just real quickly about our business, our peak is coming up in January, and then it ends in June. It sounds weird for golf, but what happens is we start running those commercials in December. If you're sitting there at home watching a bowl game or something, and you'll see our commercials start towards the middle or the end of December, and they'll start having the tournaments in Hawaii and the fun, in the Caribbean, and gets people excited. And what happens is it's a race between us, TaylorMade, Ping, everyone's racing to get our clubs onto the shelves, so that when you get that person that got the money to spend for that club, when they walk up, if it's not there, then why would you not go with the other brand, right? So it's a race, it's a sprint. So very exciting business. Never a dull moment, constantly stretched. And then we have really strong senior leaders that push us in terms of performance and lean and getting better. It's never ending, right? It's a constant process. Yeah, go ahead.
Clients for freight zone at all?
We do. Oh man, that's a great question. Thank you. We do, and that's a great question. So we do take advantage of it, and Hillwood's helped us with that. They run the Alliance area down there, and we've actually hosted one of the classes last year for the business cases. We were going to try it this year, but we got people taking the room. So, but yes, so we do take advantage of that. It's been very nice with the tariff situation. It helps us defer some of the costs. And then it also comes with security too. It's a great question. So you got to make sure the yard's secure, and you got to make sure that, whatever, you have complete control of what's coming in and what's coming out, right? So it's a big part of the job. So great question. Okay. Okay. Anyone studying tariffs or an expert on tariffs, you're probably gonna have some value. So keep that in mind if you can take anything with tariffs. So real quick, so lessons learned for me, and this is from a supply chain perspective. So I'll do lessons learned for what I learned in supply chain. Then I'll talk about the culture at Callaway and what I think and what, heads up for you all. And then I'll loop back again to lessons learned just for whether you're supply chain or not. It doesn't matter. But for supply chain, it's a handoff of 6 to 8 different functions. You can argue it's 8 to 10. It's just however you want to see it. For me, my focus, I didn't focus on one thing. I had a VP. It was a level. I was a level or two below him, but a VP that was at Verizon, and he was a pilot in Vietnam. He went to West Point, and he was, I think, from Brooklyn or the Bronx. But he just said one thing he always said, and it stuck with me. He said, "Take the jobs that no one wants. Take the job that no one wants, and you make it look good, and you make it look really good." And I always always stuck with me. And so, you may not get a glamorous, beautiful job when you start. You may get one of the, truly startup jobs there, or entry jobs, excuse me. Like I was in purchasing for the first couple of years of my career at Verizon. I hated it. I didn't like it at all. But in my job today, I can go back and refer to purchasing, and I can talk to how purchasing impacts the supply chain. So it's pretty cool. So I would say, don't be you want to get the best job for you and the best fit. But I would say if you get into a job that maybe you didn't think it's what it was or what you want it to be, stick through it for a year or two. Because I remember my first, man, after about a year at Verizon, that job, I was actually at a bachelor party. We were golfing, and one of the dads was there, and he was a very successful guy. And I said, I'm thinking about leaving the company. I'm not happy. He's like, "What are you talking about? Like, how long you been there? A year?" He's like, "Well, just get some more time and then start to navigate through the business." And that's what I did. And I'm grateful for that advice because I was going to jump ship and go to some other company. And I think that company ended up not doing well back in the telecom days. So it was interesting. So, but I would say for me, what the goal was is to get as much experience as I could get, and then checking those boxes along the way over the years. And then when jobs like the one I'm in now come up, I can go back and say, yeah, I've done that, and I've done this and this as well. Okay. Parlay your experiences. And then also, I'm gonna sound like I'm preaching here a little bit, but promote yourself too. You work hard. So when we get people that come in, we've got some excellent players from UNT, and we lost a couple, that have moved on. But I won't call anyone out. They're great. And so we've got such good students. And when they come in here and work hard, and Excel, and how to deal with, what fundamental processes are in supply chain, the cream will rise to the top really quick. It's really obvious. It's very obvious. And I've been doing this a long time. And you just know, I know pretty quick if someone's got it or not. And if they don't have what you want, maybe you can still work with them and develop it. But just trust me there. The hard work's really important. Network. You should all be networking with each other in here, because you may get a job at a place that you want, and you guys can communicate and connect. Who has a lot to do with your success, right? What's important, but who is super important. Okay. And like my example with the person that got the name that I dropped in the interview that got me the job. Create an image for yourself. What do you want to be? What are you? What do you want people to think? You come into work for our team. I'm like, what are you? Okay, hard worker, smart, good attitude. Wow. Okay, crack some jokes now and then. Good. It goes a long way. And then be a good person. That's the most important thing I've learned doing this. Be a good person. Treat people how you want to be treated. You got to be tough sometimes, and you may have little squabbles, because supply chain is about moving product, and you're going to always have little squabbles. But be a good person, and that goes a long, long way. Okay. All right. Any questions there? Okay. Okay. So from a culture standpoint, each company has their own culture and their identity. So Callaway's got our culture that was established by most likely, our founder. And then as we've evolved, and leadership team has evolved and sort of worked those words, right, of what we are. But what you can do is you're looking at jobs and you're looking around at the company, check out their culture board, check it out. And if you interview, whether it's an internship or full time, I would 100% say, hey, I was looking at your culture board. Tell me about this. Like, what does that mean? For us, it's do what you say you're going to do is one of them, right? That's a big deal in the business I'm in. You gotta finish what you say you're going to do. And so that would be a really good thing to do. I would be blown away if someone came and interviewed with me and said, "Hey, I saw your culture wall online. Tell me about how you coach that or how do you teach that?" Okay. Um, Learn about the leadership team. So do your research when you're looking for the jobs. You can find quotes, you can find trends that are really important there. And then again, other dynamics related to business etiquette. I threw this in here. This was back when I was focusing more maybe on the first job. But I think the main takeaway here is just as far as like presentations go and style, I always try to match whatever my boss is doing at the time. And bosses, they change over time, obviously. But I try to make sure that whatever presentation style I'm using in the word choices um, work for that person as well as their boss. Okay. And then for meals and out drinking, if you get in that situation, just be smart about what you're doing. I always try to pick. I don't pick the most expensive meal, and I don't try not to. I definitely keep a very low number on the drinks. But you try to want to be cordial. If you don't drink, that's okay too. Don't feel like you have to drink. Okay, so for Callaway, let me talk about the Callaway culture. Then I'll talk about the culture in the building, which should be the same, but it's not always. It can morph a little bit. And then I'll talk about kind of lessons learned. But for us, Callaway, this is out in California, not down the road here in Fort Worth. It's beautiful area out there. And that's where all the pros will come in and test the golf balls and test the flight and get them all fitted and ready to go for the season. But it's be humble and hungry, act with integrity and respect. So that's important for me. Dare to be great, which I love that because that's one thing I've always thought about is just, why not? I think when I was before I kind of that switch flipped for me my junior to senior year, I was like, oh, I'm just gonna get through here, get through school, and then figure out what job and kind of work my way through it. And I was like, wait a second, because I didn't think I didn't think was a leader. I didn't think I wanted to be a leader. I was like, wait a second, wait, I can do this. And so if anyone's out there not sure if you're a leader or not, I think they're developed. You can make yourself a leader. Okay. Do what you say you're going to do. I mentioned that earlier. One team, one company, and then be a force for good. So a lot of positive energy right there. I like that. That's what it's about for me. You got again, you can be aggressive in certain situations, but it's about the positivity. Yes.
As through your experience or training people, other people in leadership, but what is like generally your advice or like if you had to say in a few sentences,
Yeah.
what would you say is like the best advice, best teaching in trying to be a leader?
Yeah. That's a great question. And I think what it is, I would say this is you try to come into an organization. Let's just say, assuming you're going to be new to an organization or you're on the front side of your career, right? Let's say, is to come in and listen, like just get a vibe, get a feel for the vibe and what's happening, right? You know it's hard to do this, but know what to say and when to say it type thing. But just get a vibe and just listen. Listen, still work hard and be vocal, but listen to what you're hearing, listen to what the leaders are saying, and then that's the kind of information that you're going to want to ascend to. And then that's the main message, right? Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Athletic leader that was before you?
Yeah, that helps a lot. And I think it's about following the leader, but knowing that you still are you. You don't have to, if you were on my team and you don't have to be me, but hopefully there's things that I do that you could pick up on that, hey, I could do that, I can do that. I'm not sure I like what he's doing there. You hope he wouldn't tell me that, but you know what I'm saying? Like you can learn from that. Yeah, yeah.
Not the art style, but still make it your own.
Yeah, exactly. Because you got to be true to yourself. I've learned that if it's money you want, great. But at the end of the day, you're going to get to this point. You're going to be like, well, it's about being true to yourself and what makes you happy. Because you got to get up every morning and punch the clock and get in there, right? So it's be yourself. But I would say this. I've always heard this. When you get a promotion or you get a new job, what got you that job is not going to get you to the next job. So you got to keep evolving and keep adding to your game, but still be yourself, right? Yep, that's a good question. Okay, how are we doing on time? We're doing pretty good here. Okay, everyone still with me? You guys still here? Okay. Any questions? Thank you for that. Yeah. Oh, it's good. It's good. You haven't got you. Yeah. Go ahead. Yeah. 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 So, I'll give a simple example. there's, we have, this is a random one. We have the Travis Matthews sales team coming in a couple weeks. And so, we're gonna bring them into the building and then we show them around, show what we do to support them. And so as part of that, we have a team that's putting together the whole agenda. And I'm gonna lead one of the tour groups. And so what I told the team I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get ready, I'm gonna prepare, I'm gonna write a script, we're gonna nail this thing, we're gonna kill it. What would be a failure on my part is if I didn't do any of that. They all show up. They're gonna show up here on the 9th or something. I think it's the 9th of December. And I don't study and I fumble and I just, I didn't do what I said I was gonna do. And if I would have just done what I said I would do, it would be, it would have a great impact on the team. So that's an example of it. And you'll see more and more of those as you get going. Or maybe it's something if you're on the front side, you're doing a spreadsheet. I'm gonna do this for you. I'll have it to you on Monday morning and it's Thursday, right? And Monday comes and you didn't do it. It's like, if for someone like me, I'll be looking for that spreadsheet. I'll know I'll ask you about it if I don't get it. And I'll be upset. I'll say, hey, you know what? Why didn't you send it to me? So yeah, that's an example. Yeah, it's a good question. Okay, yeah.
But I'm looking for internships myself right now.
Yep.
Phone
Oh, mhm.
enough without saying too much.
Yeah. So it's like a screening interview, the first one? Is it literal phone or is it like Teams where you're looking? Both. Okay. I think the main thing that I would do, if I could just play this back, and I've done so much recruiting and I didn't think I was gonna do this much in my career. I do a lot. So I think when you show up on time. I've had people show up late and you're like, oh, show up on time, get there early. The past couple interviews I've had, I can't remember if they were interns or they were full timers, but they were there. I could see them pop on Teams early. So I'm like, cool, okay, great. I'll be there in a few minutes as soon as I get ready. And then when you come on, the physical, you wear something whatever the company's going. So if it's Yeti, it's not so nice, right? It's a little bit chilled out, but it's still, I would still throw something like this on, honestly. And whether you have shorts on, that's fine. But like honestly, because it'll go a long way. And I've interviewed people and these are probably entry jobs, but you'll get a handful that show up in suits. You don't have to do that or something like this. But then you get some that'll show up in like, golf attire. And it's like, it's okay because we are golf, but it's like, so I would always err on the side of up a notch of what you think for clothes. It just helps. Um, and then I think do your homework on who the company is. And then who you're interviewing. You don't want to be like a stalker, but if you can find out, like if it's me, you can do a little research without, I'm showing you what I got here, but it's like, you can find out a lot about me online probably and be like, and then pick a couple things out and have questions ready. Have questions ready. Those people that don't ask questions, like have a few ready. That's one of the quickest pitfalls is don't ask a question. And the ones that do, they have one or two, and don't make them too hard. Make them kind of softball. But something you want to get answered, that goes a long way too. And just be confident, And you're not going to know everything when you're interviewing. I recall back when I was trying to get the internship or when I was trying to get my first job, I didn't know what I was doing. I knew I didn't. I mean, I got the education, but I'm like, I haven't had it. And you just got to talk to what you know, and that you're open to learn. Yeah, yeah, okay, yeah.
And to branch off on that, to go 54 going to you, how would you format resumes?
Okay, so resumes are interesting too. So resumes, and I follow somebody, actually my wife sent it to me, someone on, I think it's, I don't know if they're on LinkedIn or if they're on Instagram, I don't know, but there's somebody I'm following out there. And I can get the name if anyone wants it, I can give you, I don't have it off the top of my head. But resumes evolve quite a bit, right? And I mean, they say in a basic box, but I've noticed they evolve. And so like the resume I had when I was 25 is very different than what I have now. I would just say for y'all, again, I know y'all are on different points of your careers. I would, if it's the first job, I try to keep it to one page. But like my daughters she got a couple internships, so they went to two, which is okay. But I wouldn't go past two. And then when you get to this point in your career, you've been doing this, you gotta have two. I think you do. But I would keep it kind of lean, and I can send those formats out. But yeah,
I would like take I currently have like currently have an internship, a competition certification, and such. So at times it's getting a bit hard to go into to combine it into one page, but I
Yeah.
also heard from other people that you have to make it deep, you have to make it deep, like
Yeah, yeah,
details. I heard from others that you
yeah.
have to make it precise. I just
Yeah.
don't know.
I would say, and I don't, it depends on how much you have. You want to you send me yours, I'll take a look at it. I have no problem doing that. And I'll do it. And I'll tell you real quick. I look at so many. I would just try to keep, if you can, but don't feel, if you go to two, it's okay. That's okay. If you go to two. So don't sweat it. And it depends how much you did. If you did a lot of stuff, like if I see in a resume and someone maybe worked at a restaurant, which is great because you're communicating with people, you're working hard, and they have an internship. I'm like that, you could probably get that on one page. But there's some that if you got a few internships or maybe a few jobs, you're going to have a few more. That's okay to go to two. So, but yeah, we can connect for sure. And if anyone has any questions on that, if you want to send me your resume, if you find me, I will absolutely take a look at it. Okay. Okay. All right. Cool. All right. Great questions there. All right. I think I flipped forward by accident. Okay. We on time? We're doing good. Okay. Any questions on the previous topic? No. Okay. All right. So the Callaway's operational culture. So there's the corporate culture that you'll see online, and then there's the place you're going to actually show up and work, right? If it's not headquarters. So we obviously have our distribution center. We have a big office up front, but it's a distribution center. So it's a little bit different, right, than like headquarters, but we still have the same, goals, objectives, culture wall as we do, that headquarters has. It's just that it's a little bit different environment, right? So, but we set I'd say our localized culture is set by our COO, Mark Leposki, great leader, and then my boss, Brad Barnett, senior VP, a VP, excuse me, of ops. So they take the corporate culture and then make it work for the building. So anyway, but it's about control your inputs, how we think. We're always trying to get better and faster. And then we always just try to have a good time, promote wins, holiday events, and the best we can. So, but the main point I was trying to make with the distinction between the two is sometimes you could see a corporate culture online, you could study it, but the place you're at may not be that. Now, I think not that it's bad. I don't mean that in a bad way. I'm just saying that it could be a little bit different because of what you're doing, right? So we believe in everything that's on the corporate, but then we take it a little bit further relative to what we do. Okay. All right. Okay. So now I'll just give you my lessons learned. And feel free to ask any questions here. And I know we cover some really cool topics on like the resume and the interview. That's really good stuff. I would say for your first job, again, if it's where you're at now or you're gonna interview, is have a plan. I always call it 30, 60, 90. What do you want to have done in 30 days? What do you want to have done in 60 days? And what do you want to have done in 90 days? Just sit there and line it out, and even if you showed who you're working for, your boss, that, I think if someone showed me that, said, "Hey, I'm glad to be here, Brian. I'm going to absorb what you're telling me, but here's kind of what I'm thinking. What do you think about this?" I'd be blown away. I'd be like, "Man, okay, that's a great start." First impressions are vital. So they're so important. So just be ready, be confident. As far as this one is, I've always believed this one, close the loop. So do what you say you're going to do. You asked that question. No, this is what that's about. So the folks that can take an action, close the loop, finish it, that's what you want. And it's consistent. Eventually, then you're going to say, "Hey, I need you to do this job. I'm going to promote you to this. You need to do this because I feel and I trust you're going to get it done." I absolutely noticed that. I noticed that immediately. Embrace change and the hard work. It's going to be probably a grind for a period of time. I think I was always told that's why it's called work. It's not happy fun time, it's work. So you are going to probably grind a little bit if you want to elevate, and that's okay. But it typically will show in a good way. Take jobs that are hard and conquer it. I mentioned that earlier. Here's a good one. So when you're looking at companies, whether you're in one or you want to get into one, find if they have an executive leadership program. So we do have a couple programs at our business. And when I was at Verizon, was excellent. They had a great program. They had great programs. Obviously, it's a huge company. You want to get in those programs. So if they have it, I would be surprised if they don't have it. It depends on the size of the company, but you want to get in those, and you got to work into it. It's not like you just get into it. They don't just give you a pass. But when you get in those programs, then suddenly you're going to get elevated up, and you're going to get even more training, and then you're in a spotlight of like, "Hey, this person can run other areas," and that's when you start to work up. Okay, so that's a big one. Do that. Get involved with those. And if you get somewhere and they don't have one, maybe say, "Hey, to HR, can we start one? Can we do something?" Get involved in the industry and involved and attend conferences. So I used to do that a ton when I was younger, probably my first 15 years out. It's gotten a little bit less now because of what I do now. And we're kind of locked in with what we do. We're not really shopping for a whole lot of services, but like this, right? So like what Dr. Saucer's doing here with the program is awesome. So I want to stay with these guys and help them all I can. I'm so pumped to be a part of it. But get involved. You know, it's like I was saying earlier, I was kind of just coasting through, I think. And my first, just so y'all know, my first year, I went to Plano. In my first year, I went to Wake Forest and played football. I got hurt, and then I decided to come back here, and I was like, I don't know where I want to go. I'll go to UNT, you know, it's close to home, and I was so glad I did. It was a great decision. But get involved. You know, you're paying the school, and there's service. There's probably a lot that you can get out of the programs that you're not getting if you don't actively pursue it. Okay, so that's what I did, and that was really hard for me. I got out my it was really getting out of my comfort zone, and I had a buddy of mine, a friend of mine here. He was more of a salesperson, and he got into sales, and he's really good at it. But he was like, and Dr. Sager called him fire, and I was kind of the ice. I was sort of more quiet. But we together were a good team. Our last year, we did all the projects together. So, but he's the one that kind of actually got me. He's like, hey, let's get involved. Find a mentor. That's really important. Find a mentor when you get to where you're going. Well, whether it's before you get the job or not, find a mentor, because that was the person that I mentioned during the interview that then triggered me to get this role. That's I consider him a mentor, and I still have one at Verizon as well. And it goes back to finding a mentor and not burning bridges, because, you know, when you're looking for jobs down the road, it could be 20 years. You know, there's been people I've talked to in my past. I'm like, hey, are you cool if I could use you as a reference? Yeah, it's fine. It's been a while, but yeah, okay. But stay in touch with those people and build your network. Okay. And then I think the other one is dealing with conflict. It's really, you know, you're going to have conflict in this. Probably you'll have it in your groups now if you're doing group projects. I remember absolutely we had a conflict with one. I don't know if this happens anymore, but we had to kick somebody out. That was, you know, it was wild. But anyway, so you're going to deal with a lot of conflict. If you're not dealing with conflict, you're probably not in a job. You know, you're probably not going to be in a job. It may be fun and cool, and that may be okay. But if you want to elevate, you're going to have some conflict, and then you're there to resolve it, right? That's really important. That's a big part of what we do, and I think it's dealing with issues, because if nothing's wrong, you're not going to focus there. You're going to focus on what's wrong to get it fixed, to get it right. So that's a big one. And I think I have a little bit here on lessons learned. Yeah. Okay.
So, outside of like internships and jobs, so what is your like best advice on finding mentors that you can get along with? Because
Yeah.
UNT has PLP, but not everyone does have the schedule to do PLP.
Yeah. I would say this. I would say wherever company you're at or you've interned at, there's going to be leaders there, and you're going to have people that you're reporting up to, that whatever level you come in at. And so it doesn't mean you have to go up that chain. One thing I would do, you know, as you're looking for a mentor, if you're assuming you're at a company, and you probably want to go a couple levels above if you can, but you have that conversation with your boss. Say, hey, I want to get in a mentorship program. I want to learn more. I love working for you, but I just want to see if I can get more. And that way that person doesn't feel like you went around them. And then you find someone that you can gravitate towards, right? So, you know, there's somebody, VP at Callaway, that is he's not my reporting structure, but same style as me. And he's out in headquarters. I really love talking to him, and he gives me good advice. So that's what I would do there, right? And it's kind of hard to get one if you'd have to have some relationship, right? That's where I would start there, right? But that's what I would do. Yeah. Next question.
I think that you are when the other institutes or like associations like CSCM,
Yeah.
the APAC, ICM. What's your experience going into it, and what's your advice for people that are thinking of going?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I would say my first like maybe 10 years of doing this, I'd say 23-ish, because I started when I was at UPS still, to maybe 24, or excuse me, 34-ish. I was pretty heavy in that. And there'd be times I would go and I'm tired. I'm like, I don't want to go to this meeting. I'm like, but you're going to meet people, good people. And we probably know the same people. Dr. Saucer and I probably know the same folks from back in the day. And it's like, and I still know those people. So you kind of got to force yourself to do that. I would do it. It could be a lot, but it's like just getting into an organization and being involved. Yeah.
SCM or a APAC have like a serve
Yeah.
like a position exam?
Certification. Yeah, yeah, it's a good question. So yeah. So you're right. Yeah, they both do. And I did this one about 10 years ago, Apex, CSCP. And so it was hard. It was like I had to go to a training center or you check in and put your phone in. Like it was a real deal. I studied for probably 8, 9 months and I got it. But I learned a lot. But I was at a point in my career, and it was probably, I think 12, 15 years ago. And I was just like, okay, I want to keep moving forward, but how do I differentiate myself from the crowd? And that was one thing I was like, well, that'll help me, maybe not in Verizon at the time, but I can put on my resume and the people that are in the business know, okay, oh wow, okay, he worked hard to get that. So I would definitely do that. And I went Apex, but I'm not sure what now the best one is. We can probably get that, but okay. All right. Thank you. Okay. Yeah. 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 Definitely. How are we doing on time? We doing good? 12 minutes. Okay. All right. That's a great question. So then I think my next slide. Oh, look at you. Did you see my slides? You teed me up. All right. So I'll tell you this real quick, and then maybe make sure I answer your question. Here's what I've learned, right? And you don't have to follow this, but hopefully this helps you out. So for political viewpoints, I always try to avoid that because you never know. Obviously, there's a lot going on in the world, and you never know where someone's at, and you could offend somebody. So I just keep my thoughts to myself on that topic. I would recommend that. That's my opinion. Tariffs is good. Yeah, no, tariffs is yeah, yeah, yes, and that comes in. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. We try to keep opinion of you know, said driving that out. But we focus more on, okay, this is what happened. We weren't expecting this from the White House. So now we're going to deal with it. But we spend very little time on why, and we figure out, okay, what's the solution? Yeah, because you're right. There's a lot of stress and anxiety on this part of it. Yeah, I get it. Yeah. But we acknowledge it and then we say, okay, regardless of where you are, how do we solve it? Yeah. It's created a ton of work for us. It's hard. Yeah. And we've actually got some good plans and the FTZ helped. So yeah, but good question. That's a great question. So that's my take on it, right? And I think you'll see any senior leaders, they're not going to dance in that space too long. You just can't. You're going to have too many issues. I believe. So respond rationally with limit. Sorry for aggressiveness. If this helps, respond rationally and limit emotion. You're going to have conflict. You're going to get revved up. I know when I was younger, I was probably more vocal. I was probably a little more aggressive. Like if I had an issue with somebody, I'm like, but now it's like, okay, I hear you, but how do we solve this? How do we work through it? And at the end of the day, it is what it is. And you just move forward. It's nothing personal. Praise, I always say accept it, but give other people credit. Be humble. That's one of ours is be humble. Be humble. I mean, if you can do that, wow, that's big time. You know deep down you did it, and someone's gonna know. I know you probably did it, but you give credit to somebody else. I'm like, okay, all right. So that's good. Belittlement, don't ever do that. If you get that towards you, and if you're feeling that one, you roll with it. And if someone's going to come after you or belittle you, there's probably something they're struggling with themselves that, it's like I always take the high road. And you may get mad, get upset, but take the high road. Put on the spot. That's when I always used to hate, especially when I was front side. And I'm like, oh man, but just be ready and be confident and if you don't know the answer, just say you don't know the answer. That's okay. But then for you, what was your issue or anything that I could help with on there or we share with the team?
They manage difficult people who really don't want to like themselves.
Yeah, yeah. That's good. That's what it's all about, honestly. That's what it comes down to. You're going to be dealing with people that maybe don't want to do what you need them to do, or people that are, really, really smart and they're not getting it, and it's like, so what I would always do is I always take a step back, take the high road. Don't meet aggressiveness with aggressiveness, right? And don't go down to that level. And just if whatever it is you're trying to get approved or get through, just say, okay, I hear you, but look, here's what we're trying to get to, and here's the facts. And usually if the facts are what they are, you're gonna win. You should win that argument. Yeah. So it's tough. It's tough. Yeah, it's interesting, I've had a lot of great bosses, but I've had some that have been really hard, really tough. And you just gotta, it's a lower percentage, but you're gonna encounter it. You just gotta navigate it. Okay. And I think it's always just take the high road and always look for what the facts are. Take the emotion out of it the best you can. Okay. Was there another one? Somebody else have one? Okay. Okay. Okay, so we're getting near the end here. I'll leave a little bit for questions. So just to recap real quick, drive your market value, whatever you are. You're a brand, you are you. Be true to yourself, but drive your value. If you're not on LinkedIn, get on LinkedIn. Um, hopefully you all are, but if you're not, find me. I'll be your first connect. That's cool. I push my daughter to do that. I'm like, get out there. And then I think she had one of her classes at Arkansas that said, hey, you have to get on LinkedIn. So I was like, so do that. Trust me on that one. I'm happy where I'm at, but I get recruiters reaching out to me, every once in a while, and I'm like, no, I'm good. But that's where they're finding me. And then that's where I'm finding talent. Like I've been to probably 20 of these over the, yeah, maybe 15 of these over the years. And there's always students here that will reach out to me on LinkedIn. Then I got you connected. We're connected, and you send me your resume. And I've hired plenty of people that way. And I think others like me that are coming here to talk or part of this program will do the same thing. Okay. And I always look at everything. Everyone that tries to link in with me, I always look. I get a lot of sales folks, but if I get students, I'm always going to connect because I've been there and I know what you're working towards. Earn points in your career. I always come in before my boss. I live close to the building. My boss lives about almost 2 hours away, so so that helps. And again, this is my thing. You may not agree with it. That's fine, but do more than the next person and ask questions. Be curious. It's okay. There's no bad questions. There's no bad questions. I'd rather have people ask questions that I'm like, but you're engaged and you're trying to learn. And then I think the final point here, I think this is my last slide, is just look to lead. I would recommend it. I didn't think I wanted to be in a leadership role when I was sitting in your seat here. And then as it's progressed, I'm like, well, wait, I can do that. I can do that. I can do that better than that person. And so, and then the idea, what I would love to see is people like you come back here in 15 years and you're doing what I'm doing and whatever it's supply chain or finance or accounting or whatever you're in, you're up here and giving back. So, okay. Okay. So there are some of the fun pictures. Any questions that I didn't cover? Yeah. 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 I think there's lots of training to get, right? There's lots of training, and hopefully, I think wherever you go, they'll have a program. But I think for me, leadership, I really think there's an intelligence factor. I mean, but you don't have to be the smartest person in the room, right? Like I'm not, but I work my tail off. I work hard, and I just try to use some common sense, as much brain power as I can, and then just to where someone that's being a hard worker gets results, but it's just a good person. That kind of person will go really far. And knowing how to deal with the conflict when, because it's going to happen. I think that's really important. And just being confident. But the number one thing I think at the end of the day is obviously with results, there's someone that you got to be able to get results, but a good person to me is I will take that person over if it's a tie any day. So that's the most important thing. And I mean that, wouldn't have probably said that 20 years ago, but I think as I come full circle, I'm like, yeah, that's what it's about. And you spend more time with people at work than you do with your own family if you don't count sleeping hours. So yeah, okay. Um, I'll look at the resume first, right? And GPA is not it's not critical, right? But it helps, but it's not critical. Then I look at what did that person do? I look at if you're involved with these different programs, awesome. If you got an internship, great. If you don't have one yet, it's okay. Because if you're trying to get an internship, that's okay. But like if you've worked at a restaurant or I worked at one of these bookstores. It's closed now. It's demolished. Because I had to, get some money, when I chose to stop playing football. I was like, but I look for that stuff, and I'll talk about that. I'll say, hey, I see your resume is good. What's your major? Finance. Okay, cool. And so I'll look at that. I say, okay, finance, done this. Okay, you got the standard, probably a lot of, but then it's like, well, what else? What makes you different, right? It's going to be you how you are. And then I'm going to look at like, what's something that you work at a restaurant or you do this? Like, did you do something that shows me you got to deal with people? There was one person we hired worked at a gas station, like had to do I'm like, man, you probably saw all kinds of crazy stuff at a gas station. You got to deal with all kinds of crazy people. But that's, and then we had and I actually hired that person. So I'm not saying to go get a job at a gas station, but I'm just saying that like something that's different is very nice to see and shows some diversity of like you dealt with challenges. That's super helpful. And then being involved. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Anything else? Am I the only thing between you and Thanksgiving break? No? Okay. All right. All right. All right. I know my sister's coming, or my daughter's coming home tomorrow. So
build, but those go like that would probably dedicated to a particular brand, but maybe a manufacturing plant. Or if it was sharing, or a brand was sharing, manufacturing with another brand.
Yeah.
Um,
That's a good question. So at our building, right, we're just distribution. So we have Travis Matthew, Callaway. But like if you manufacture golf clubs or golf balls, bad example, golf clubs, if you're manufacturing those overseas, you're going to have makers that make ours, and there's Titleist is there and things. So we have to keep that. We keep an eye on that. We don't run that. We outsource that, but we have to keep an eye on that. So you keep separation there. And then here, our building here, we keep separation physically, so that we have different P&Ls, different budgets for the Travis Matthew, the Top Golf, which is going to go away at some point, and then the Callaway Golf. Yeah. So yeah, it's a multi-brand site. So yeah, and then each of those companies will have their own finance, accounting. Yeah, yeah. So we do embroidery too. Yeah. So in the building, just so you know, we do embroidery. So if you work at a golf course, you want 100 shirts and you want your golf course on there, we'll take your order, get you a Travis Matthew 100 shirts, and then we'll do your embroidery. So we do that as well. Yeah. And that's another budget inside of the building. We have like 5 things going on at once, but yeah. We do it by machine, but there's people that have to you have to hoop it. Yeah. We do the artwork too. So we have artists at the building. So we do artwork, then we do, and I'm sorry, I don't get close here at the end, but we do artwork, and then we also do the actual physical. The actual needles are popping, but we actually put the machine in. So yeah, we do that at the building down here. Anything okay? Anything else? All right. We got it. I think so. Remember, find me on LinkedIn. 180, no, is it 110? 110 people should be in my inbox. I'm just kidding. No. Anyway. All right, cool. Thank you. If you have any questions, find me there. Thank you.